Namaste and welcome everyone. I'm so excited to have Sarbani Roth back here this year to be doing an intensive lecture on the timing of Diksha. Namaste, Sarbani ji.
Namaste, Ksanati. Namaste.
I'm so excited that you're here. For those of you uh, should know, Sarbani needs no introduction, but nonetheless, I would like to. Sarbani is a Jyotish guru, a Jyotish Pandita, a Jaimini scholar. She teaches Jyotish at the Devaguru Brihaspati Center in the Parashara course, as well as the Jaimini Scholars Program. She is the president of the Sri Jagannath Center. She is the president of the Devaguru Brihaspati Center and is a member of BAVA, the British Association of Vedic Astrology, and a member of the Council of Vedic Astrology as well. I'm so excited for your lecture, Sarbani. The floor is yours. Oh, let me do a quick chant to Guru, actually, if that is okay.
Yes, sure.
Devinam cha Rishnam cha Gurum Kanchana Shanibam Buri Bhutam Triloksham Tam Namami Brahaspatim Devinam cha Rishnam cha Gurum Kanchana Shanibam Buri Bhutam Triloksham Tam Namami Brahaspatim Devinam cha Rishnam cha Gurum Kanchana Shanibam Buri Bhutam Triloksham Tam Namami Brahaspatim Om Gram Grim Gram Sa Gurudeva Nama 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 Hari Om Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you, Sarbani ji.
Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you, Ksanati, for inviting me to participate in the Maharishi Parashara conference in November 2024. It's an honor for me. And the topic that I would be presenting today is called the timing of Diksha. Now, we are going to cover through a whole gamut of subtopics. We are going to start with what is Diksha, what are the different types of Diksha that you have, what is the kind of Diksha are we talking about out here, the role of the Guru, which is absolutely quintessential to the concept of Diksha, the role of the ninth house, the role of the Atmakaraka, the Bhratrikaraka, the Karakamsha, and the Ishta Devata, the role of the 12th house and the concept of Mokshagati, and the very special role of Ketu, as well as if we talk about transits, then the transits of Ketu and Jupiter. And we are going to end with the concept of Sannyasa Diksha and the role of Saturn in this. Now, right at the end of my presentation, I have made a checklist for all of you that what are the things you need to check when you want to time Diksha. And I initially had put that slide right in the beginning. And but then I realized that the checklist does not make any sense unless I explain what those checklists are. For example, if the checklist says that Ketu needs to be trines to the Arura Lagna or the Lagna, then one needs to understand why the role of Ketu is so important for Diksha. If I say that the ninth house and the planets associated with the ninth lord becomes very important in dashas of the periods of those planets become very important during the timing of Diksha, then again I have to explain why. So though the bulk of my lecture may sound a bit theoretical, but actually these are the checklists. These are all the points that we need to see, and some or all, I don't think it is all usually in any case, but some sometimes less, sometimes more, of these factors are important when we are trying to associate them with Diksha. So we are going to start just with the two lines of a well-known Guru mantra, because quintessential to the concept of is the Guru. Shankaracharya had told us that Guru Bhakti is the boat which will help us cross over the Bhavasagara, that is the all the pain and perils of samsara that we go through. The only thing that will help us cross that and go to the other side of the shore, by which perhaps we can get absolution or moksha, is Guru Bhakti. So, just with a two-line prayer to the Guru, which all of you know, अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ गुरवे नमः। ॐ गुरवे नमः। ॐ गुरवे नमः। ॐ गुरवे ॐ गुरवे नमः। So we are going to start with the concept of the definition of Diksha. What is Diksha? When I come across all our students and many people who are involved in Jyotish, and I'm even talking about Indians who are staying in India, very few people seem to have an idea about the concept of Jyotish, of Diksha. They feel that even if you are discussing a mantra with them, that you are initiating them, that perhaps you are giving them Diksha. But that is not really the case, is it? So the first part, definition and types of Diksha. Da means to, Diksha is divided into Da plus Shi, and that gives Diksha. Da means to give, and Shi means to destroy. So, what is the Guru giving? What will the process of Diksha give us? It is number one, going to give us divine knowledge. And what is it going to destroy? It is going to destroy or exhume the collective papa or the sins of the initiate. These are the two things that is going to happen. Now, the Sharada Tilakam gives us a very, very nice definition of Diksha. Divyam Jnanam Yato Dadyat Kuryat Papasya Sanshayam Tasmat Diksheti Samprokta Deshikais Tantra Vedibhi. So, whether it is a Tantric Diksha or a Vedic Diksha, Diksha is supposed to give you Divya Gyan. Divya Gyan means divine knowledge. And at the same time, it is going to destroy all the papa. And that is what all the givers of Diksha, whether in the Tantric or Vedic path, are doing. That is precisely the definition that we have given over there. Dadati yasmadiham divya bhavam mayamale karmacha sangshinoti phalam chaturvarga bhavancha yasmat tasmat dikshetya abhidhanamasya. This is another definition from another text, and it's not from the or from the Sharada Tilakam, but it is actually giving you the same, almost the same kind of meaning. Dadati yasma diha divya bhavam. I'm going to give, or you, Diksha is going to give you divya. Divya means divine, the divine bhava or divine knowledge. And all the mal, that is the dirt, which has come from karma, because induced by Maya, those would be destroyed. So it's the same meaning that you're getting, that it's a twofold thing, getting divine knowledge and destroying all the dirt of the collective papas, collective bad karmas, or the sins that we have done. And in the second verse, it's also telling us that Diksha can also give you the fruits of Chaturvarga. That is why, for many people, even though they have got perfect Diksha and they may have become more spiritual, but at the same time, their material life also has become very good. They are doing better in their jobs, their family life has become well, perhaps they've become more prosperous. So, this also, if you're a samsari, if you're a householder, then this too, a good Diksha will be giving you. So, this is the first thing that you must know, that this is what it gives. So now you immediately know anything that is does not have the capacity to do either of these tasks is not a diksha. Now, therefore, we can say that diksha is a spiritual initiation, right? And it is a spiritual journey, and it marks a new beginning in our lives, like a new birth. So I may be 60 years old or 70 years old or 80 years old, but spiritually, perhaps I am maybe like a 5 year old, maybe somebody who's much younger than me, maybe a 20-year-old person, maybe spiritually much more evolved. Because spiritual journeys or spiritual lifespan is not limited to this one birth. The spiritual lifespan extends across multiple births. So if I get spiritual diksha at this age, at this life, whatever my age might be, that life or that birth and that journey is commencing at this life. And it need not complete in this life. Usually, for people like us who are regular householders, it does not end for us here. It actually goes over, we carry it over to the next life and the life after that. So if I've got a good diksha and if I've been able to absolve some of my papa sins through chanting, then when I go to my next birth, I've already accrued a lot of good karma. That means my cycle of birth and rebirth becomes shortened. And maybe within another couple of births, I will be able to escape this cycle. Okay? So it marks a new beginning in a person's spiritual life, and it is a journey embarked on a new and unknown path for the eternal and ultimate quest, which is as directed by the Guru or the enlightened master. This is the important part, as directed by the Guru. Because Diksha, for spiritual Diksha, you need a Guru. Now, the aim of all of us, of every Jivatma that is born, a born soul, is to liberate ourselves and to go back to the source. We've come out from that source, and then we are kind of, because of our karmas, caught into the cycle of birth and rebirth. So basically, the aim of the Jivatma is to get out of that cycle and go back to from where we have come. And this journey, this path, is very long and very arduous. And as I said, that it may occur after, it may happen only after many births. And this commencement begins with a diksha, wherein our spiritual master whispers a mantra in our right ear. He whispers a mantra in our ear. And the regular and constant repetition of this mantra will further us in our spiritual path and will bring us closer to the Paramatman. And depending on the rigor of practice and the spiritual development of the person, you will become closer and closer to your goal. Now, so many people may get Diksha. Many people do not take the instructions seriously. Many people do not do the mantra seriously. Some may do the mantra sporadically, and some may do it very regularly. Those some may really wish to do it, but are so caught up uh, with the influence of the grahas, with some bad times they may be running, they usually say, "Oh God, I don't feel like doing any mantras. I'm unable to do any mantras because I'm so bogged down. I'm so depressed. I'm so caught up with some absolutely horrendous negative Saturn transit that is happening in my life, that I'm unable to sit down and do my regular practices." So, though you have taken the Diksha, it's like an unopened, it's like a little bud inside you, and you are not really doing anything about it. And maybe you would not be able to do anything in this life, and then you carry that over in the next. and then you practice it. But if a person is very rigorous and they're very diligent and they're very sincere in their approach in how they want to go about it, then in that case, they will develop in the spiritual path. They will come closer and closer to the goal. And so maybe in this life, they will not be able to reach their goal, but maybe in the next life, they will, if they are very good at it. Maybe after a couple of lives, they will. If they are very rigorous with their chanting, maybe they are able to burn all the karmas that is required. Remember, we started with that definition, the exhumation or destruction of the collective sins or papa or dushkarma that we have done. Now, I may say that I want to get it this lifetime. I'm very desperate. I am willing to do whatever is necessary to get it in this lifetime. Now, if I want it in this lifetime itself, then the quickest way is to take the vow of sannyasa. All right, that means to renunciate, because with renunciation you can attain moksha. Because a true sannyas or renunciation entails the severing of all material bondage, of all earthly bondage, of emotional bondage to our family, to our children, to our spouse or mother, father, to renouncing your all kinds of desires, including physical desires, and renouncing your professional life and your attachment to karma. You are trying to really cut off all the attachment into your indriyas are involved in. And when you do take this path, when you do take the vow of sannyasa, then they say that you can escape the entire circle of birth and rebirth and life again, rebirth and death in this life itself. That's why we will end with discussing what it entails for sannyasa diksha. So, in the ultimate sense, diksha is really supposed to be sannyasa diksha, right? That is what we are supposed to be aiming at. Okay, or at least it should be steering us towards sannyasa. Although, as I said, that millions and millions of people take diksha, but this diksha has a very variable impact on their lives. And so the main part is that it is successful in launching the native onto his spiritual journey, and this spiritual journey may or may not terminate in this life itself. Therefore, if we do an analysis of the Muhurta of Diksha, it can give us considerable indication regarding the kind of direction of spiritual progress the native will make in this lifetime. So, all the different karakas, grahas, bhavas that I will now be discussing, all this will become important for you because these are the important signposts that you must watch out for. Now, Diksha, there are many kinds of types of Diksha, but Diksha may be classified into four primary categories. And these four primary categories are called Kriyavati, Varnamai, Kalavati, and Vedhamai Diksha. Now, Varnamai Diksha is supposed to be Sambit Pradayini. Sambit means gives you a lot of knowledge or jnana. Kalavati is Divya Bhava Pradayini, will make you feel closer to the divine presence. And Vedhamai is Sansara Mochani. Sansara Mochani means Vedhamai Diksha has the capacity to release you from the samsara. So now Kriyavati Diksha is when a very elaborate and complete ritual is undertaken. You know, it is conducted over several days and it's very, very exhaustive in its detail. So that is the process of getting Diksha. So that is called a Kriyavati Diksha. Kriya means the Kriya Karma. The act of rituals is called Kriya. Then we have the Varnamai Diksha. So now Varna or the aksharas or the syllables of our alphabet, basically they are representing Prakriti and Purusha. The Divine Mother Kali is supposed to be an embodiment of the Varnas. She's supposed to be Varnatmika and Varnamai. She's composed of all the Varnas. Advanced Jyotisha students would be very familiar, and those who are students of Mantra Shastra will be very familiar with the importance of Varna, which is there in the study of certain divine deities. So in this case, the guru performs the nyasa of the entire Varnamala or the alphabet on the Shishya's body. And then this gradually manages to dissolve the student's consciousness into the great Chit, the very syllable acting as an instrument to annihilate the body. Now, this is why I started by saying that in during the Kali, goddess Kali is known as Varnatmika or Varnamai. And aksharas are supposed to be representative of bodies. And when there are no akshara, then everything, this life or this body gets annihilated. So if you have ever watched a proper sort of right-handed Kali worship, not the left-handed one, but a proper right-handed Kali worship, you would see that the Kali worship requires hours and hours of what is called Varnanyasa, where they put every letter of the Sanskrit Varna on different parts of the body. You know, like Kang, Khang, Chung, Tung. They will go over every Varna in different permutation, combination, and that is very peculiar to the Nyasa that is conducted in Kali Puja. Now, here in Varnamayi Diksha, the Guru himself is putting the Nyasas of this entire Varnamala on the Shishya's body and thereby using the Varnas as an instrument to annihilate the physical body right there. And the Shishya is thereby getting absorbed into the great Chit or the Paramatma itself and having or experiencing that awareness of the great consciousness. It's quite a fantastic kind of Diksha. Now, the next is Kalavati Diksha. The Kalavati, the Shaktis of the Panchabhutas are known as the five kalas. Now, the Shishya is supposed to meditate upon these five kalas, and these five kalas are on different parts of the body, the chakras, and they use the kalas, actually kalas. So, all of you have heard of the five bhutas, Panchabhutas. So the wives of the Panchabhutas are the Panchakalas. All right. So what they are doing, they're meditating upon the kalas which are on the body because our body is basically based on tattva, as Parashara tells us. So you're going to meditate on the kalas and use the kalas to pierce through the chakras and thereby pierce the tattva body. All right, our body is a tattva body. That is the atomic level by which we are created. So you can pierce through the tattva body by meditating on the Panchakala. And this meditation helps the initiate to kind of shift the kalas from one part of the body to another. And this also has the capacity to destroy the Shishya's body, and it kind of enacts a microcosmic process of Srishti and Pralaya. So as you know, these Varnamayi Diksha and Kalavati Diksha are all pretty heavy duty Dikshas. Then we have something called a Vedhamayi Diksha, and we say Vedhamayi Diksha is Sansara Mochini. So in this, the Guru is meditating on the consciousness which is residing in the four-petal lotus of the Muladhara and enables the Muladhara to rise like a lightning and piercing the six chakras, enabling the Sushumna to merge with the Paramashiva. All right. So what the Guru is doing, the Guru is meditating on yours, that the initiates Muladhara chakra. That is the four petal lotus which we have in the Muladhara, where the Kundalini is lying asleep. So the Guru is able to focus on that and able to awaken the Kundalini, by which the Kundalini awakens and straight like a sharp lightning goes straight up, piercing all the six chakras. All the other six chakras it pierces. Vedhamai, Veda means to pierce, to go across. So to pierce, and so what is he actually, the Kundalini rising means that you're enabling the Sushumna Nadi to get activated, by which the Sushumna Nadi would take the Kundalini, and straight away there is a merger with the Paramashiva, which is in the Sahasrara. So in this, you can say that the Shishya becomes like Shiva himself. Following this through the Agya Chakra, the Kalas are pierced, and through it the Nada Chakra, and finally the Guru merges the Jivatma with the Kundalini Shakti, and thereby pierces and reaches the Parameshwara. At this point, the Shishya falls to the ground and then arises with having attained divine blessings and complete achievement in the spiritual path. And such a Shishya becomes Shiva himself. Now, we don't really, like to share these things, details about Varnamai Diksha and Kalavati Diksha and Vedamai Diksha, because, next I know that you are going to try to experiment this and try it on one of your Jyotish students, are going to request a guru to do this to you. No, please don't do that. That's one reason such knowledge is not shared. But basically, this occurs or this has occurred to very elevated saints. Like, for example, Swami Vivekananda. All right. People like Swami Vivekananda, like Paramhamsa Yogananda, Srila Prabhupada, all these very elevated, Ramana Maharishi, all these very elevated saints, when they have experienced or had a contact with their gurus, this is the kind of experience of Diksha that takes place. And that's not for you and me. For example, the Vedhamani Diksha is almost exactly the description one reads that what Swami Vivekananda had experienced. Because Swami Vivekananda was a student of science and a complete non believer in all this. And when he had first met Sri Ramakrishna, he had asked her that, tell me, did you really see God? And he would go on asking him these kind of agnostic questions and questioning him and doing a Rahu act on him, because Swami Vivekananda's Dhanu Lagna with Surya in Lagna, he was all ablaze, all fire, feared nobody. And at one point, so he had a couple of these special dikshas for him. And at one point, Sri Ramakrishna had touched him and he had felt an electric vibration. He felt that the electricity shot up from his toes right up to his head, and something happened. And at one point, he collapsed. Now, that sounds exactly like what we call a Vedhamai Diksha, by which the Guru is able to wake up your Kundalini, and the Kundalini rises and pierces through the Shat Chakra to merge with Paramashiva in the Sahasrara. So that, though they did not mention the term,
Tarbani, one
yes,
moment.
yeah.
Just on the tech side, in the presentation, we have the main slide and the next slide. Would it be
Mhm.
possible to just show the main slide so that it's bigger for the viewers?
Oh, I thought I was doing that. I didn't know that the next slide was showing. Um, I just played slideshow on my usual on the app. That's all I did.
Okay.
Shall I just escape it for a second?
Or
Let me
maybe it
escape.
says display setting. Oh yeah, let's do from current slide.
No, it's still showing.
Ah, yes.
One second. It may be. Um, okay, maybe because I have a dual monitor and it's coming onto the dual monitor. I think that's what is happening. Is this better?
Um, no. Someone suggested click on display setting and select show current slide.
Yeah, well, normally that's what I do. I just show current slide. Is this okay?
Oh, there we go.
No,
Perfection.
so yeah, so I had clicked on current slide earlier as well, but I think the problem was I'm using a dual monitor, and so I think the slide was coming onto the other monitor. So I just pulled the plug of the other monitor, and this is fine now.
Thank you, Sarban.
Okay, yeah. Should I continue? Yes. So, yes, so these kind of dikshas, as we were talking about, the Vedamai diksha and these Kalavati dikshas, these things, are not to be practiced by us. So, what does happen that when any of you go for, okay, let's actually complete the other categories of diksha and then we'll come back to it. So there are other minor categories of Diksha, like for example, a Sparsha Diksha. Sparsha Diksha means that an awakening can happen when the Guru merely touches you. So when the Guru is just Sparsha means touch, is touching you, just by the touch, he can initiate you. Then you have a Vag Diksha. So Vag Diksha is that the spiritual consciousness is aroused by whispering a mantra in the ear of the disciple. And then we have Drik Diksha. Drik Diksha can happen simply when the Guru looks very, very intently at the disciple. And just by looking very intently at the disciple with the whole intention of creating, arousing the spiritual consciousness, and he can initiate it. Even without saying a word, the Guru can do that. We also have something called a Swapna Diksha, where in your dreams, a guru can come. The guru can be in any form. It can just be in the form of somebody you don't know. He can look like a rishi, and he can come and give you a mantra. So that will be like a mantra diksha. Many of you, many Jyotish students I know, they get a lot of mantra diksha in their dreams. They say, "Oh, I saw X came, or Shiva came, or Vishnu came, or some rishi came, or some teacher came, and they told them to do XYZ mantra." So that's like a mantra diksha. So which means that you're initiated and you don't need to go through a ritual, and that the divine is telling you to chant that mantra. Okay, the divine is giving you directions to chant the mantra. That's how it happens. So Swapna Diksha is also a very, very important. But Swapna Diksha need not be like a complete spiritual Diksha as we are talking about. Swapna Diksha can be any mantra Diksha, which I'm sure many of you received it. I've received it myself. Those of us who are involved with about studying and thinking about mantras or about Jyotish, we do tend to get that. So, what happens in real life? In real life, really two kinds of diksha. I mean, I'm not talking about those of you who are going and staying with a tantric master, or those of you who are getting some sort of a tantric initiation, which are very elaborate and which may be a lot like Varnamai Kalavati and this kind of dikshas that we talked about. Or, in the south, you have very elaborate Sri Vidya Diksha initiations. And in these very elaborate Sri Vidya initiations, you have all kinds of dikshas which are there. Many sampradayas, many of you have got initiated in many spiritual traditions where they follow Kriyavati Diksha. Kriyavati Diksha means there will be a big anusthana, that there is a very long 3 hour or 4 hour or maybe whole day process by which there is a lot of rituals and you're homa and you're getting initiated. But a true Kriyavati Diksha usually spans across several days. For example, Gayatri Diksha, when it happens in certain parts of India, they still follow Gayatri Diksha to be spanned across 3 days or 4 days, I believe even 7 days. So, similarly, other spiritual Dikshas can span across. Many people don't do that, but many sampradayas follow the notion of having an anushthan with a puja and a homa, by which, at the end of which, you are given. Or in most cases, what happens in a Diksha is that basically the guru calls you either privately or with a close group of people, and the guru will, he chooses a date and a time, and he asks you to come, and he gives you the mantra, and he or she gives you certain instructions on how to perform the mantra, and it's a very small process. So if you say that what is the difference between the kriya and this, there's actually no difference. By now you know there is no difference, because a guru can give you diksha simply even by looking at you, if he just wants to spark that thing inside you. So most people receive a diksha very simply, and in some sampradayas they like to do a full anusthana with mantra and prachara. And the other three big dikshas are for certain very advanced paths, and for people who are like very advanced saints, they have experienced these kind of dikshas. For example, Ramana Maharishi, Ramana Maharishi remained mourner throughout his life. He has been to the Arunachalam mountain, and once he was over there, he simply, what happened to him, nobody knows inside, but he was obviously initiated. He was initiated even unknowingly by the presence of a divine. The Shivalingam itself, by the presence itself, can be initiating this process in the person. And such spiritual awakening is very, very high. So we talked about that we, or perhaps this is the, okay, let's come to the next part. So we now know for this process to get Diksha, we need a guru. Okay, so who is the guru? So the guru is somebody very, very important. I started this talk by saying that may my Guru Bhakti be the boat which will tide me across the pains of this samsara. And I chose those two particular lines of the Guru Ashtakam, which all of you know. Only those lines are Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya, meaning from the Ajnana Timira, from the darkness of the night. Which night? The night of ignorance. Ajnana means the night of ignorance. In the night of this ignorance, Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya, the Guru's jnana is like an arrow which pierces the ignorance of the dark night or the darkness of the ignorant night. All right, so we are going to talk more about it. Guru Bhakti Samayukta Purushagyo Visheshata Evam Lakshana Sampanyo Guru Ritya Vidhiyate Gu Shabdasta Bandhakara Syat Rusabda Stan Nirodhaka Andhakaro Nirodhitat Guru Ritya Abhidyay. This is from the Advaya Taraka Upanishad. It says that he, the person who has devotion for his Guru, and in particular the person who has the knowledge of the Purusha. If you see the words over here, Purushagya Visheshata, has knowledge of the Purusha. Which Purusha? Of the divine being, of the supreme being, the supreme self. Such a person holds the signs of the Guru. Very interesting. The two signs of the Guru that is mentioned over here, that one is that he should have the knowledge of the supreme self. What does that mean? Means he should be enlightened, right? To have knowledge of the Pradhana Purusha or to have knowledge of the Supreme Self means that you are enlightened. That is one requirement. And the second requirement, that he should have devotion for his Guru. What does it mean? Meaning, though he is enlightened, he has devotion for his Guru. Guru Bhakti Samayukta, that's the first word that is written. That means that he is able to conquer his ahamkara. The aham is not there anymore. Because only when the aham is not there can you be truly enlightened. The syllable gu signifies darkness. The syllable ru signifies the elimination of darkness. And since he, that is the Guru, possesses the ability to remove that darkness, he is called the Guru. Guru Shabda Stabandhakara Syat Ru Shabda Stannirodhaka. That means Gu Shabda means Andhakara. What is the Andhakara? The darkness or the Andhakara of Ajnana. And Ru Shabda Stannirodhaka will obstruct or remove that darkness. That's why he's called the Guru. So that is why now you'll understand or appreciate why I began with those lines. Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya. Ajnana timirandhasya, timira means night. Ajnana timirandhasya, the andha, the darkness of the night caused by ajnanata or ignorance of a non-enlightened person. The Guru is like a arrow which will pierce through that darkness and remove the darkness. Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya. All right, that is the way we are worshipping him. He is able to do this. So the Guru, since he is enlightened, the light is always lit, already lit in his heart lotus. So, what happens when a place is very dark and I have a candle which is lit? How will I want to light a candle. How will I light the candle? I take another candle and by which I light the candle. I don't have a matchbox. So I need another lit candle to light it because I can't, because either you have a matchbox or use another candle to light. So the Guru already has a lit candle inside him. He is already enlightened. And when he's initiating you, he is taking that lit candle which is in his heart and he is putting a spark into your heart to light the unlit candle that is in you, right? So my candle in my Anahata chakra is unlit. And I don't know where the matchbox is. I am unable to light it. So when I go to the Guru is the candle by which he is lighting this, by which the candle in my heart is lit. By his enlightened soul, he's giving me a spark of his enlightened soul, and he is trying to rekindle the sleeping light which is in me. Right? This sleeping light means what? It just means that because we are born, we are enshrouded by our karmas and we have completely forgotten who we are. That means we are in this darkness of ignorance. So I think I'm Sarbani and Shanati thinks he's Shanati and Visti may think he's Visti. So we are all, the reason I took Visti's name today is it's his birthday, the solar return. That's the reason why I took his name. So we are all enshrouded. We think this is who we are, right? So many of you know about the concept of the pancha koshas. The koshas are sheets of karma which are enshrouding the jivatma which is inside me. And how do we get rid of that sheets of karma, the koshas which are there? The ignorance that is causing inside me. Therefore, when we talk about the Kundalini, who is like a sleeping serpent below in the Muladhara chakra. So only when I'm awakened, and that awakening can happen with Diksha. That awakening can happen with the Diksha. So when that awakening happens with the Diksha, the Kundalini stirs. And for those who have, who are very enlightened beings, maybe Mata Amritanandamayi, like Amachi, or maybe Shri Shri Ravi Shankar, maybe Sai Baba, Siddhi Sai Baba, or Satya Sai Baba, maybe Sri Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharishi, so many of the saints, Srila Prabhupada, uh, Shankaracharya, so many of them, maybe they are enlightened, they are able to really awaken their Kundalini. So when the snake awakens, then the snake will arise and it will reach with Paramashiva in the Sahasrara. But till then, we are all sleeping. So the Diksha process, by the Diksha process, the Guru is giving me a nudge. The Guru is nudging me, wake up, remove this deep darkness that you're swelling in. Try to remove this darkness. Okay? Now, many of you are very confused with the word guru because in Vedic times, the word teacher did not exist. So, guru was anybody who is teaching you. So, now basically, guru means, your Diksha guru, what we were talking about, but there were also other gurus who are your Shiksha gurus. Shiksha gurus means those who are teaching you certain subjects in different branches of knowledge. And that is not necessarily leading you to moksha. That is not about removing the darkness that you're in. That is not about enlightening your soul or embarking you on a spiritual journey. But that is about giving you a lot of very Shuddha Vedic Jnana on certain branches of knowledge. So, therefore, every branch will have Shiksha Gurus, and these Gurus have different names. Sometimes they are called Adhyapakas, sometimes they are called Upadhyayas, sometimes they are called Acharyas. That means depending on the kind of knowledge they have, some may impart only textual knowledge, and others, like those who are Acharya, they also give their own commentaries and analysis on books read. Okay, the others adhyapakas are lecturers. So there are different grades of Shiksha Gurus as well. Like for example, when you read the Mahabharata, so many Shiksha Gurus are mentioned over there. The great Dronacharya and Kripacharya. Dronacharya was the battle guru for the Pandavas and Kauravas, teaching them all the rules and the all the subtleties of a battle. Kripacharya taught them about the weapons. So we have different kind of gurus over there. For Sri Ram also, but Vasishtha was Sri Rama's Kula Guru. He was the Kula Guru of the Ikhaku Vangsha. So when Vasishtha came to the court of King Dasharath would immediately get up and ensure that Sage Vasishtha would sit on the throne and he would wash his feet. So Vasishtha is like a guru, like he is the spiritual guru over there. So spiritual gurus are different from the all other kind of Shiksha gurus. You would be reading a lot in the classical texts how people visited their the ashrams and they stayed with the gurus. So these gurus will be teaching them about the Vedas and different branches of knowledge. For example, those who are princes, they had to be taught about Raja Vidya, how to run a kingdom, about administration, and of course about warfare and fighting and weapons and diplomacy. They had to learn everything. Some may be just interested in Jyotish Vidya like us. So when we are teaching, we are Jyotish gurus. So that means we are like teachers of Jyotish. We can be upadhyayas, or we can just be lecturers like adhyapakas, or we can be like acharyas if we are adding our own commentaries and analysis. But we are not spiritual gurus, like the main concept of guru, what I discussed right in the beginning. So, therefore, Diksha Gurus are the enlightened souls who teach us about Dharma also, right? They show us the way to moksha, they unlock the doors, and they're opening the lotuses within us and kindling that spark that is glowing within us. The mere presence of a true Diksha Guru can cause a magical shift in our lives. Their mercy or their karuna can have the ability to remove the burden of sins accumulated through many, many past lives. All right. Diksha can be of many types, which we have already discussed. And the Dharma Diksha alone is the highest Diksha. And the Guru who imparts this is one's true spiritual Guru or master. So, Dharma Diksha means is your main spiritual Guru to whom you go. Like, for example, those of you who belong to the Gauriya Vaishnava Parampara, or you belong to ISKCON, and if you have taken a Diksha in the Mahamantra, then that Guru is your Diksha Guru. That means they are spiritual Guru or Dharma Guru is the want of better word. Similarly for anybody who's initiated in the Sri Ramakrishna order, anybody who is initiated in the Mata Amritanandamayi order, or if you're initiated in the Art of Living order, you can be initiated in so many orders. And there are so many unknown gurus as well. There are many, many gurus who, may not be famous, we may not know the name, but you may have gone there. Maybe you have come across them in Rishikesh or in some obscure place and you have felt a connection and you have taken Diksha. Such a person, whether they are humble or they are well known, whether they have just given you the mantra or they've done the full Kriya, their job is to enlighten you, cause that spark, that kindling of that spark which had gone off, to help you to nudge the koshas which are surrounding our Hridaya Chakra, our Jivatma, and enabling and putting you on Moksha Gati. They are putting you on the Moksha Marga. Now, for a few people, such a Diksha may end up being a spiritual Diksha. A person may have just gone like you and me for a Diksha mantra, to a Dharma Guru. But that Diksha may spark something within them. And many such people eventually renunciate and they have taken sannyasa. That means they have really got their moksha marga. They have got their moksha gati. So when we look at a horoscope, we have to look at all of these things. Okay. Okay. Now, one of the tools, how do we see all of these things in the chart? One of the tools that we are going to see in the chart is to do with the Ishta Devata, the Atma Karaka, and the Karakamsha. Now, when the Ishta Devata is that deity. Now, this is also a question. I get very often that who is the Ishta Devata? What is a Ishta Devata? So Ishta Devata is that particular Devata. Now you can say we like many Devatas, we are Jyotish students, we do a lot of, or try to do a lot of mantras and sadhana, we worship Ganesha, and we worship Shiva, and we worship Narayana, we worship the Divine Mother, Lakshmi and Durga. We, of course, are Jyotishis, we worship Surya. So, we worship a lot of them. I feel a connection with many of them. I have this planet in my fifth house, which is causing me to have a connection. But who is that Devata? Who is going to put me on Moksha Marga? Remember our discussion that we have started with over here, right? Who is going to put me on the Moksha Marga? Who is that constant guide in my spiritual journey? Somebody who will be like a lamppost, like a light, who will be my constant guide. And that deity is the Ishta Devata. The word Ishta basically comes from the word Isha. Here, Isha is not with an talavasya, but this is an Isha with a murdhanyasya. And this Isha means to seek. And what are you seeking? You are seeking. And Ishta is the object of the goal that you are seeking. That means Ishta Devata is somebody that you are desiring intensely and you are wanting to attain. You are seeking him. You've got the Mahamantra, say, a Gauriya Vaishnava or any Vaishnava for that matter, would have got the Mahamantra and you are doing 16 rounds and you're chanting. By what are you doing? What are you seeking? You are really seeking the closeness or Sannidhya to Krishna himself. Right? Your Ishta Devata is Krishna himself. You are deeply desiring him. You are deeply seeking him. You are deeply wishing to go close to him. At the same time, of course, the mantra is going to burn away all your karmas. So the Ishta Devata, then we can say, is our personal God. Now, he is not only our personal God who is going to show us the way to the moksha marga, right? For us to get out of this cycle of birth and rebirth. Do you remember we started with that? So he's not only going to be that personal God, but the Ishta Devata in the process also becomes our protector. The Ishta Devata also becomes the protector. He becomes our ultimate shelter. He is the one who is loved and adored above all deities, and he determines our happiness and sorrow. So, though a Krishna devotee, a Vaishnava, those of you who are Vaishnava, amongst all the other gods you love and adore, you will love and adore Krishna above every other deity because he is your Ishta Devata. He is not only your guide in your moksha marga, he is not only the one who will uh, burn your past sins and bad karmas, but he also becomes your protector. He is your ultimate refuge. He is your ultimate shelter. So, what happens is when that nothing works and everything fails, you will go only to your Ishta Devata. So, eventually, in the final reconciliation, the reckoning, it is the Ishta Devata who is going to grant us the moksha and liberate the soul from all our earthly bondages. It is this Ishta Devata who will awaken the light of knowledge, that is, who's going to cause the spark of enlightenment in us. He will ignite the enlightenment process in us. And he is the one responsible who will be the cause of the eventual union with the Paramatma. In our times of trouble, he is our savior. We have this very common saying in India, and those of you who are Indians, you will know that even people who do not know much about spirituality, but they're brought up like that. Oh my God, I got attacked by a wild animal when I was in the forest, or we were attacked by a group of thugs, and I thought I was going to die, and all I was doing, I just did japa of Ishta Devata. It's become like a phrase, like a little idiom to do japa of Ishta Devata. Is the time to do japa of Ishta Devata. That person may not have a Ishta Devata or may not even be spiritually initiated, but that is the feeling that they have inside of them. So eventually, it is this constant chanting of the mantra of the Ishtadevata as given to you by your spiritual guru, the constant repeated chanting till the moment of death, till till that point where there is nothing but in that consciousness only the mantra of the Ishta Devata is the only thing that should be in his mind in that last moment. He is your refuge. He is the one, he is the thing that is going to carry you through. That is what is Ishta Devata is. That is what your Guru gives you. That is the reason why we hold our Diksha Gurus so high in our heart, so very high. For him or her, everything. We are ready to do everything. We are willing to give up everything. That is why the Guru is revered so highly. Now, most of you, uh, at least, are familiar with a concept called the Atmakaraka. Atmakaraka, Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra says that in the natal horoscope, the Ishta Devata is indicated by the Atmakaraka planet. Oh, really? How? Which is the planet with the highest degree in a particular Rashi. And if there are two planets where the degrees are similar, then the planet with the higher minutes should be taken. And in the minutes two identical, then with the one with the higher seconds should be taken. Budho Rashi Kala Dhikta Grayo Naivatma Karaka Angshadhika Karaka Syadalpo Bhago Anyat Antya Karaka. Okay, so he has Brihat Parashara in the Karakadhyaya has given us this definition that this is the planet which is called Atmakaraka. Now the question should rise is that why is this planet called Atmakaraka if he is the planet with the highest degree? Moment you talk about the Atma, that means something you are talking about the spiritual kind of a domain. He goes on to say, goes on to say, Sa eva jataka dhisho vigyeyo dvijasattarma sarva vartadhikari cha bandhakrin mokshakrit tatha. So Parashar is teaching that, oh, the highest of the Brahmins, no, Sa Eva Jataka Adhisha. He is the king of the horoscope, Jataka Adhisha, Lord of the horoscope. Because he's the king of the horoscope, the Atmakaraka holds the potential of also giving you a lot of Raja Yoga. And he can make you the top of the king of, literal king of your material world as well. Because he said he's Jataka Adhisho. But we are not going to go further into that definition. But he has also said that Sarva Vartadhikari Bandha Krin Moksha Krit Cha, that the Atmakaraka is the Jivatma and he has the capacity to relieve the native from the bondages of material life and grant moksha. Bandha Krin Moksha Krit, to release the native from the bondages of this life and grant moksha. What a very, very big word, big concept Parashara has given. And that is the reason why this concept of Atmakaraka is visited or revisited again and again. This thread is also taken up by Maharshi Jaimini, who belongs to the same lineage as Parashara and who has basically commented a lot on Parashara's work. And so he has also said Chabandha Moksha. So he has also said Atmakaraka can give you moksha by releasing you from bandhana. So the same words are used by Maharshi Jaimini as well. Now, this is because the Atmakaraka represents the Jivatma. The sun or Surya is the Naisargika soul, the universal soul. We call the sun the Naisargika Atmakaraka. This is natural and this is fixed. Therefore, he is called Sarvatma. Sarvatma cha Divanatho. This is something which Parashara, all of you know this, has talked about. He's representing the universal soul or the supreme soul. But what about literally like the Paramatman? But what about all of us who are Jivatmas who are born? This is represented by the Chara Atmakaraka, that is the temporary Atmakaraka, which is there in all our horoscope. And therefore, this Atmakaraka in our charts is the voice of our soul. And if this Atmakaraka is favorable in our chart, it can steer the native towards a spiritual path. And if this Atmakaraka is not favorable but is adversarial in your chart, then this Atmakaraka can cause suffering. So, since it's responsible for the spiritual quest of the native, it is only natural that the Ishta Devata is also determined from the Atmakaraka, right? Because if he's saying that it's going to give you moksha from bandhana, that means we can from this also understand who or what is the Ishta Devata. Okay. So Parashara goes on to tell us that the Ishta Devata, and this is the shloka right here, that the Ishta Devata is signified by the planet which is placed in the 12th house from the Atmakaraka in the Navamsha Sthana, Navamsha. Now, the house in which the Atmakaraka is placed in Navamsha is called Karakamsha. I'm sure most of you know that. And the 12th house therefrom is called the Ishta Devata. Because the 12th house is the Naisargika house of moksha, right? In when you have learned all the karakattvas of the bhava, you have learned that the 12th house, amongst many other things, is also the house of the final emancipation or final death, and it is the house of moksha. But if we say that the 12th house is talks about sleep and talks about emancipation. I mean, it's our leaving. But what kind? I mean, there are so many things that we see from the 12th house. Hence, when we are seeing it from the 12th house, from the Karakamsha, then we are talking about Atma Bandhan. Then we are talking about Bandhana and Mukti of the Atma. Because the 12th house from Lagna need not talk about Bandhana and Mukti only. The 12th house can talk about many kind of bandhanas, all the various bandhanas in our lives. It can even talk about if we are imprisoned and we go to jail. That is a bandhana that can be seen from the 12th house of the chart. If we are hospitalized, that is also a kind of a bandhana which can be seen. We can experience so many kind of bandhanas. How do we know that it is a spiritual, that it is this Atma bandhana that we are talking about? How do we know that? So for that, we have to see 12th house from the Atma Karaka. And where do we see the 12th house from Atma Karaka? Do we see that in the Rashi chart? No, we see it in the Navamsha chart. Because the Navamsha chart is that division which is calculated from the ninth house. It is the Dharmamsha. Okay, that is why we see it is the ninth division. So Parashara has told us that if in the 12th house from Karakamsha there are benefic planets, or if there are exalted planets, or if there are planets in Swashetra, then the soul migrates to a better loka after death. And he has also said that if Ketu is placed there and is aspected or conjunct by a benefic, then quite a high level of moksha called Sayujya moksha is guaranteed. This is the shloka where he says that Karakamsha the Vyayasthani Swabhanyaste Shubhagrahe Sadgatir Jayate Tasya Shubhalokam Upapyayat Karakamshad Vyaye Keto Shubhakheta Yutakthite Tadatu Jatate Mukti Sayuja Padmapnyat. So this is what he has said. And, Maharshi Jaimini talks a little bit further on this. He has also taken all these shlokas of Maharishi Parashara, and he has also spoken on the same line. And we of course have this scheme, which is more of a Jaimini scheme we have. So if from the 12th, from your Karakamsha, you have Ketu, Yuti Surya, then we can say that maybe you should follow the marga of Shiva, maybe a Shaiva path, and Shiva is your Ishta Devata. Why are we saying Ketu plus the deity? Because we are going to talk about Ketu a little bit later because Ketu plays a very, very important role. So, because Parashara has said, and so has Gemini, that if Ketu is over there and is aspected or conjunct another graha, definitely you are going to see a moksha. So, we have done it with all the grahas actually, not just a benefic planet, because Ketu itself, elsewhere in shlokas, they have said Ketu placed in such a placement from the Karakamsha will grant you moksha. So Ketu is there, Yuti Surya in the 12th from the Karakamsha. Then it is Shiva, who is like your Ishta Devata and has the potentiality to give you this path. If it is Ketu and Moon, then it is Gauri. If it is Ketu and Mars, it is Skanda. If it is Ketu and Mercury, it is Vishnu. It's Ketu and Jupiter, it is Samba Shiva. If it's Ketu and Venus, it's Lakshmi. If it's Ketu and Saturn, then it's some Krura Devata, Samudra Devata. And if it's Ketu and Rahu, then it's Durga. And if it's just Ketu itself, it can be Ganesha. But this is just one kind of a scheme which kind of helps you to guide what are the paths which are shown by this planet. Now, talking of this Ketu, as I said, Ketu is also the Naisargika or the natural 12th lord. And Ketu is known to be Moksha Karaka. Ketu doesn't have much drishti, doesn't have a head, and he is the ultimate Moksha Karaka. Because he is Moksha Karaka, his placement in 12th house from Karaka is lauded both by Parashara as well as by Jaimini. Jaimini and Parashara both have given us many more. Actually, Jaimini has given us a lot of dictums, which I'll just very quickly brush through it. Of course, one of the most famous dictums that has been given by Maharshi Jaimini is that if Ketu is in the sign of Pisces or Cancer, then that can, give you Mokshagati. Why the sign of Pisces? Because Pisces is the natural 12th house, and Karka, Vrishchika, and Pisces basically form the Moksha Trikona. That is the reason why of the Jala Rashis. So if 12th house is the goal and is the giver of moksha, if we are to be sure and talking of moksha, we should talk about 12th house from Karakamsha. So if Ketu is placed in 12th house from the Karakamsha or the 12th house from the Navamsha Lagna also, but please let me stress, we are really talking about 12th house from Karakamsha here. Then the final emancipation is guaranteed. Then if Ketu is in the 4th or 12th from Karakamsha, then that also guarantees moksha or final emancipation. Meena Navamsha also gives religiosity and Kaivalyam. That is simply because Meena Navamsha, Pisces is the Naisargika 12th house. If a Ketu is placed in the 12th from Karakamsha or from the Navamsha Lagna and it is aspected by Venus, it can produce asceticism and religious leanings. Oh, please note, this is the reason why I'm telling you. It can give you asceticism or religious leanings. He can be initiated into a religious order. The word that is used is Shukra Drishte Dikshita. Shukra aspecting a Ketu, which is in 12th house from Karakamsha, can get you initiated. So, why am I going through all this? If you have such a combination, and if you are running, you see, when we are talking about Dasha Antardasha, and you are running a Dasha Antara Pratyantar of such a Shukra, then there is a very strong chance that you will receive your spiritual Diksha then. And that is the purpose of my going through all these principles, that why these planets are very important. A Ketu Mahadasha or a Ketu uh, Antara Pratyantar itself, especially if you have a well-placed Ketu, 12 from Karakamsha, in a Meena Navamsha, in the 4th or 12th from Karakamsha, then at that time to get Diksha is very, very good. Now, if Shani aspects this Venus and Ketu and Swamsha, then we have something called a Tapasvi Yoga, right? That means somebody who gets undertakes very powerful religious penance. Shani Drishte Tapasvi Proshyova. All right. So, number one, we have Ketu in 12 from Karakamsha. Oh, you know, I'm a very good candidate to go into Moksha Gati. It seems I will get Moksha. Now, that Ketu is aspected by a Shukra. Then, number two, I may get initiated into a religious order. Number three, that Shukra and Ketu is further aspected by a Saturn, then that means tapasvi yoga is created. That means somebody who has the power to do huge spiritual or religious penance. So next time you're thinking, oh, I'm going to do these tough sadhanas and I'm going to go in, I'm going to like take myself away from everybody. Now you first have to see that you have a yoga, the capacity to do sadhana. Shani gives the capacity to do very hard labor, right? So you need the devotion of Shukra, the complete spirituality or detachment of Ketu, but you also need uh, the complete discipline and hard capacity to do hard labor as given by Saturn. All right. So that's why Shani Drishti Tapasvi Yoga. That means we should also watch out for Tapasvi Yogas, right? So now note all these points. We are also going to watch out for Tapasvi Yogas. And if I see that I have a Tapasvi Yoga, and again I'm running a Dasha Antar of these planets, oh yes, that means I'm going to get initiated, and most likely I am going to be doing a lot of tapasya. Huge amount of tapasya I will be doing. I have the capacity. Oh, many of you ask, I'm planning to undertake this sadhana. Do you think this is a good time for me? I have been asked this question. First, I check out, does the person have tapasvi yoga, especially in the Navamsha we are talking about here? And is the person is going through or will go through soon Dashantar Pratyantar of any of these Saturn, Venus, and Ketu? If so, yes, you can say, yes, go right ahead. You can do it. And you'll do it very well. Have the confidence to tell the person. So that is also a time. So if you're getting initiated into any Diksha also at the time, that means you really will do the mantra that you've been initiated into. You will do many, many rounds of mantra. You will do 20 rounds, 30 rounds of mantra. It will just run in you. Your guru may not even have told you, but you will do it. Why? Because you have tapasvi yoga in the Navamsha and you got initiated in Dasha Antar Pratyantar of that particular planet. If you have a single natural benefit in the 12th house from Swamsha, from Karakamsha, can lead to moksha. This is called Uche Shubhe Shubhaloke. This is exactly what Parashara has talked about, the shloka that I discussed with you just previously. Right? Parashara has also said that. And these benefic planets are going to show the path of the gati. What path will the soul take? So those planets can show you a strong sadhana path, a Shaiva path, a Vaishnava path, or a Shakta path. The broad path can be indicated by the planets. So you have to do that. And if you do it, then you will get moksha and you will probably go to a very good loka. So we can see that both these great Jyotish rishis are saying these points to us. So when we are talking about timing, you have to know what you're looking for, right? So you know that this is something that you need to look for. All right. After this, so I think we will take a 5 minute break. I don't know whether Shanati is here or not. If Shanati is here, so I think we can take a little small break and I can grab some water and coffee and come back, right?
Perfect. That sounds wonderful. So we'll take a 10-minute break and we'll start back on
Right.
the hour.
Yeah. Thank you.
Lovely.
So,
Thank you so much.
do I need to pause audio or something?
No, no, you're good. Just you're great. See you in 10 minutes. So Sarbani is going to be taking a 10-minute break at this moment. So this is a perfect opportunity to get a little snack, look at your notes, maybe put some questions in the question and answer for Sarbani to address at the end of the lecture. Um, this is very, very profound work, and I'm so grateful to be participating in this lecture. I hope everyone is enjoying themselves this morning on the first day of the Maharishi Parashara conference. While we have some time here, I'll just do a little discussion of today so that everyone could get excited for what we have to offer today. So Sarbani is going to be concluding her lecture at noon. And then Ronnie Dreyer is doing a beautiful elaboration on women's astrology and kind of relating the classical texts to modernizing them to understanding a more progressive approach to women's astrology. And then Freedom is doing a 2.5 hour lecture intensive on Taramandala. And I actually spent some time with him going over this, where he actually is able to locate all of the various nakshatras um, in the morning sky. Beautiful, beautiful mapping he's done. And then everyone needs to attend our opening ceremony from 5 to 6:30. I'm going to be introducing all of the faculty, but Pandit Samavidula, who is a great Brahmin, is going to be doing a Navagraha puja. And he does this every year, and it's so beautiful. It brings catharsis, it brings tears to my eyes. There's nothing in the world like it. And then Dr. Harness and I are going to be doing a keynote interview on the future of Jyotish. And I'm very excited to be discussing the future of Jyotish with Dayanandaji. And then Pundit Sanjay Rath is going to be accepting our annual Maharishi Parashara Conference Lifetime Recognition Award. I'm very, very excited that he's going to be accepting this award this evening. And then Satsiri Khalsa is doing an elaboration on progress charts, and we'll be concluding this evening with Joey Buhold, who's going to be doing an unlocking of secrets with a powerful Maherta techniques. And so I hope everyone is very, very excited, and we'll see you in about 5, 10 minutes for the conclusion of Sarbani's lecture. Hari Om. Hey, someone just asked the question. May I ask when we could get a replay of all the lectures? So the lectures will be uploaded onto the Google Drive and sent out at some point in mid-December, but definitely by the end of the year. So all of the recordings will be processed and emailed to each individual participant by the end of the year.
Okay, so you can hear me?
Welcome back, Sarbani ji. I hope you enjoyed the little break.
Yes, I just grabbed a coffee.
I'll pop back in a half hour or so to help field some Q&A. Does that sound good?
Yeah, yeah. So I will complete as much as possible. I'll see.
We can even do it in 40, 45 minutes till we have plenty of time. So,
Yeah, okay.
okay.
Okay, so we now go over to another new segment. And this new segment is all about the ninth house. Now, this is the Konark wheel. It's supposed to reveal the cycle of birth and rebirth and the wheel of destiny. Because the ninth house is all about our destiny, right? It's called the Bhagyasthana. It is also called the Dharma Bhava, and it is the real protector of the individual. The ninth house controls our past, our present, our future, our conduct and principles. And because it controls our past, present, and future, for that very reason, it controls our fortunes or destiny or bhagya. And in the process, it is signifying a whole bunch of things, and all of you are familiar with it. This is a kind of a year one Jyotish kind of a revamp. So it's signifying religion, dharma, principles, norms, conducts, temples, father, teachers, gurus, higher studies and knowledge, long distance travel, pilgrimages, amongst a variety of other factors. The ninth house has Argala on most of the houses in the horoscope, and it's a very important controlling house, and especially because it is the Bhagyasthana. The reason it is Bhagyasthana is that the ninth house holds the entire karma of the past life. This line here, I should have highlighted for you. It holds the entire karma of the past life. The ninth lord is the carrier of our prarabdha karma. And because they are the holders of our past life karma, especially our prarabdha karma, that is why they are controlling the whole horoscope. That is why they can twist our fortunes here and there. We may have a bunch of very good yogas, but ultimately we say that luck didn't favor us. What is the point of having a lot of good yogas when luck is not favoring us? Or even though I have a lot of bad yogas and a lot of bad things have happened to me, but luck always favors me and I escape. What is this notion of luck? That means that your Bhagyasthana, your ninth house, is favoring you and protecting you. That is the controlling, that is the destiny factor. Now, all remedies for the atonement of past life karmas are rooted through the ninth house because the Mula Nakshatra, the infamous Mula Gandanta dosha, it is there in the ninth house. Mula means the root. So that means it holds the root of all our problems. And if we do the all remedies related to that point, we are actually really doing remedies at a very, very foundational level. So, because it is controlling our past life karma, because it is indicating the principles of the individual, because it is a controlling house, therefore, the ninth house requires or compels the requirement for the Guru and Diksha. Because we can subserve the negative karma which may have been carried through only through Guru Diksha. That's the only way. Again, I would tell you, go back to my first slide where we discussed that the second definition of Diksha is to exhume or remove all past life karmas, all papas, and all sins. So, if we are able to do that, then we have removed a lot of negative karmas which are being carried by the ninth house and the ninth lord. And if you are able to do that, then bhagya, the good fortune, will come towards us. The indicator of our karma indicator will swing towards us the more bad karmas we burn. And the burning of bad karma can be done through Diksha. So that is the whole very, very important point in our life. Now, we also talked about moksha, right, as being the end goal of Diksha. Now, if we take the ninth house, what is the sadgati of the ninth house? Therefore, the fourth house, gati is always seen fourth house. So the fourth from the ninth house is the 12th house. That is the gati. But what kind of a gati? It's talking about moksha gati. So we are going to call it sadgati. All right, the sadgati is seen from there. The ninth and the 12th house are also both ruled by Jupiter, as you know. Ninth house is Dhanu Rashi, indicating Shiva, and the 12th house is Meena Rashi, indicating Vishnu. Shiva is Dharma, and Dhanu Rashi has the Dharma of upholding the truth. So, therefore, Dhanu Rashi does not welcome anything that is inauspicious. The ninth house cannot bear anything that is inauspicious. Only Jupiter is welcome over there because he alone can uphold the dharma of Shiva. That is the abode of Shiva, the Parameshti Guru, Dhanu Rashi. Therefore, Rahu is very uncomfortable over there. Rahu is going to feel not only debilitated in the Naisargika Jataka, not only is he going to feel debilitated over there, he's going to feel as if he's dying. The true meaning, Rahu's definitely, most definitely not welcome over there. All houses follow the ninth house. All houses of your Jataka, of your horoscope, follow the ninth house. All houses of the Jataka are under the control of the ninth house, right? Are you understanding the importance of the nine Baba? Therefore, the purging of all our miseries, purging of all our prarabdha karma, the dush karma, the bad karma, of course, I'm talking about, and the atonement of all these karmas can only be possible through the diksha at the feet of one's guru, Guru Padukabhyam, at the feet of one's guru. Therefore, the guru is in the ninth house. And if I take Guru Diksha, because Diksha's ksha is about the burning of past life karma, that's the only way I can turn my ninth house around. That's the only way I can turn destiny around to favor me. There is no other way. And doing what? He will give me the Ishta Devata mantra. And through that Ishta Devata, now the Guru may decide that your Ishta Devata is, he will decide who the Ishta Devata is. Your horoscope may indicate something else. We did discuss a scheme, but that's more or less more to give us an understanding, to give us a guideline how to go about it. Therefore, it is very crucial that we examine the grahas which are in the ninth house and which are associated in the with the ninth house. That means ninth house from where? Ninth house from Lagna, ninth house from Arura Lagna, as well as we also look at ninth house from the Karakamsha, Karaka Lagna, because we are talking about the soul. Why do we give a lot of importance to Arura Lagna? Because Arura Lagna is our material manifested life. So that is also important. What is getting manifested and what is not getting manifested. Who is the Karaka of the ninth house? The great Brihaspati. You can see his picture holding a rosary. The great Brihaspati is the primary Karaka for the ninth house, because I started by telling you on the ninth bhava that Jupiter alone is welcome over there. All right, it is Shiva's abode, the abode of the Parameshti Guru. Surya is a very close secondary Karaka. So Jupiter and Surya. So therefore, if Jupiter is placed in the ninth house or he has an aspect on the ninth house, it's considered very, very beneficial. Such a person is usually very righteous, very principled, even if there is a debilitated Surya in the ninth house, and such a Surya gets a Nicha Bhanga, even then that Surya will give beneficial results. Jaimini has told this to us repeatedly that in matters of spirituality, Ravi is very Shubha, very auspicious. All right. Now, so placement of Saturn and Rahu are negative. Obviously, they are not welcome over there. And they can be the detriment for the Guru. Mark my word, a Shani or Rahu in the ninth house is not good for the Guru. It can cause the detriment of the Guru. And as well, it can give rise to some atheistic or agnostic attitude. Such a native can say, oh, I'm very spiritual, I'm a great devotee of so and so. But somewhere inside them, atheistic or agnostic attitudes will come. Some people, even, if they do believe in God, they would never believe in rituals. They will never go to places of worship, whether it's a church or a temple or a mosque, what have you. They will always doubt their gurus. Rahu in the ninth house, inborn, they can't help it. They may respect the gurus, but they will doubt the guru and the guru's words all the time. They can't help it. The ninth lord itself represents divinity. And therefore, so we talked about ninth house and the ninth lord. So the ninth lord is the carrier of the prarabdha, and he represents divinity in our chart. Therefore, the grahas or planets which are associated with the ninth lord will have a very overpowering impact on the direction of the fortune of the native. All right, the bhagya, the fortune of the natives, are, as I told you, it's linked to our past karma. Therefore, it is also necessary to see the amsha of the ninth lord in the D60 or Shashti Amsha chart. Right? You take the ninth lord of a Rashi chart and you see where it is placed, in which Amsha it is placed in your D60 chart. And if it is in a very harsh Shashti Amsha or it is in a gentle Shashti Amsha, it will show the kind of experiences that you will have. Therefore, as I said, this whole our destiny, right? Our destiny, our luck factor is associated with our past life karma. That is the fundamental to the Vedic studies. That is determining my misery. I'm not getting married. I'm having a lot of problem in my marital life. I'm getting beaten up. All kinds of things are happening. It's because some past life karma associated with Venus. So this past life karma, because of that, the ninth house will get blocked. The ninth house carries that. So therefore, only by Guru Diksha that can get resolved out there. Therefore, what are we taking away from this? That the ninth house is important, planets in or associated with the ninth house, planets in or associated, planets associated with the ninth lord itself, and the Karaka, Jupiter and Sun. These are all very, very important factors for me to see when I'm watching out to see the timing of Diksha. From where? From the Lagna and from the Arura Lagna as well. It is very, very crucial. Okay. Now, what about the ninth lord from Karakamsha? The ninth lord from Karakamsha will show our Guru Devata, or it will bring the Diksha Guru to us. For example, if you have Shukra over there, you can say that your Diksha Guru may come to you via a connection through your wife. If it is Jupiter, it can come via a connection through my husband. All right, here the Karaka is a determining factor. All right, what is it Karaka for? The Graha, which is there in the ninth from your Karakamsha, the ninth lord from the Karakamsha, there is definitely that Karaka of that Graha is indicating a determining factor. They are enabling this Diksha to come, they're enabling the Diksha Guru to come to you. See, we are talking about when you are ripe and ready for it. Now, the appearance of the Diksha Guru is timed on the basis. So, this is what I was telling you. Ninth Lord from Lagna and Arud Lagna. So, ninth Lord from Lagna and Arud Lagna becomes very, very crucial. Mark and underline this point. So, the Guru can give Diksha by whispering the mantra in your ears, which is a Vag Diksha, by touching you, which is a Sparsha Diksha, or by gazing intently at the Shishya, which is a Drik Diksha. We have talked about this in detail earlier. And they say that if the Guru decides to have mercy, then by a mere touch he can alter our lives. So the Guru's intent is very, very important. Very important. Okay. Now, in this context, we are also going to understand Bhratri Karaka a little bit. Bhratri means brothers or siblings. And if it is if it is a Chara Bhratri Karaka, you would think that it is associated with the third house. But we learn in our parampara that the Bhratri Karaka Graha represents the Guru in our horoscope. How is it so? How is it that a Karaka who's associated with siblings of the third house, how is the third house related to my Diksha? So if the planet with the highest degree is known to be the Atmakaraka, the planet which is second highest degree is called Amatyakaraka, and the planet which is third highest in degree is called the Bhratrikaraka. Now, the third house is supposed to be the house of Guru Diksha. It is the house of Guru Diksha because it is the seventh house from the ninth. The ninth house, if the Guru is sitting over there, then the seventh house from the nine is the Guru's Hridaya or the heart of the Guru. And the Guru's Hridaya or his intense desire or wish is to transmit mantras and impart spiritual knowledge to his Shishya. Hence, although the ninth house may portray the personality of the Guru, the third house will show the teachings of the Guru or the Guru Upadesha itself. Both the third and 11th houses are the years, and the Guru whispers the mantra in our ear. He whispers it in our ear, even during a Diksha ceremony, so that that mantra is inaudible to any other persons. Now, this is a little footnote over here. Sort of, it is put over there, but I don't need to discuss this with you. Basically, that mantras can be either Vedic or they can be Tantric. And Vedic mantras, such as the Gayatri mantra or the Sattvic mantras, and they are recommended for the higher spiritual path. Whereas Tantric mantras usually have a lot of bijas added to them and are more Rajasic or Tamasic in nature. So now the Tantric mantras at their pinnacle are motivated by Sattva Guna, but this is achieved only by very high sadhakas. So in real life practice, the real Tantra, which is actually motivated by Sattva Guna, is actually really lost. So what happens in present times is all Tantra practices which are there are Rajasic or Tamasic in nature because they are motivated by desire. So worship which is driven by desire is marked as left side and left-handed worship, while sattvic worship is determined by right side or right-handed worship. Vedic and Gayatri mantras are associated with the right ear and Tantric mantras with the left ear. This is just a little short footnote, and so I just rushed through that. But anybody's interested, we can go over it later, but not very crucial to what we are doing. So now we are going to do the timings. Now the timings is we have already discussed, all these points. We have to look at all these points. So if we are going to say, I want to see the dasha of certain planets, so I will see the dasha of planets which are in the 12th house from my Karakamsha. I will see dashas of planets which are associated with my ninth lord. All right, especially benefic planets. Planets which are in the ninth house are associated with the ninth house, not only from the Lagna, but also from the Arura Lagna, right? as you see that Ketu plays a very big role. The Karakas play a very big role. So Ketu, Jupiter, Sun. Ketu as a Daisargika Moksha Karaka, Jupiter and Sun as the Karaka for the ninth house. These are very important grahas. That's why their Dasha Pratyantar Dasha. So Jupiter, Sun, Ketu, planets associated with the ninth house or the ninth lord from Lagna or Arud Lagna, right? Then, of course, planets associated with the 12th house from Karakamsha or even 12th house from Navamsha Lagna, but mainly 12th house from Karakamsha. Specifically, if Ketu is there, then grahas associated with Ketu, Dasha and the Dasha of those planets will give you or will tend to give you a Guru Diksha. Okay, now let's go a little bit more into it. So we have to see all these general examination. We talked about all these general examination. That is here is repeated out here. Planets in and associated with the ninth house and the ninth from Arura Lagna. Aruras, why are Aruras important? Because Aruras, uh, as long as Aruras are there, the attachment factor is still there. So if somebody is really going in for sannyasa diksha, then to this destruction of Arura becomes very, very important. Okay, very few people are like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who can actually break it. Now, if you have natural benefits, third and sixth house from Arura Lagna, ideally there should not be any planets in these places. And these planets will show the extent and nature of the renunciation. They will show the manifestation of parakrama in the world. Are you very parakrami? We will take the example of Vivekananda and Prabhupada. So now I think Prabhupada has Venus and Mercury, six from Arura Lagna. Now that is very interesting because Venus shows a complete giving up or smashing of Venus represents all kinds of desire, including sexuality. And giving up of sexuality is very important because celibacy is an intrinsic part of brahmacharya or definitely of sannyasa. And a smashing of Mercury as the overall karaka of the 10th house. Mercury is the giver of work and power and everything. So you cannot be holding, you cannot say, I am the CEO of this bank and I'm the vice president of so and so. These are all aruras or maya attached to our professional self. So that professional self, the karma and the desire and sexuality, the attachment. These two main attachments have to go. Therefore, we do examine it. Now, who do we examine it in the charts of? Does it really matter whether if you and I have these grahas over there? Definitely, it would matter if you are planning, if you are a big sadhu and you are planning an enlightenment, then that definitely matters. So, very much so. That's why we take a look at the charts of Vivekananda and Prabhupada, given that we have the time, just to see this factor. Now, amongst the, we also talked about the role of Sun and Jupiter, but planets in trines will also show affinity towards a particular deity. Planets and trines, where planets and trines to your Lagna will show an affinity towards a certain deity. Miss Parashara has spoken about a lot. Planets in fifth house will indicate, like if you have a Venus over there, you'll be attracted to a benefic female goddess. If you have Sun over there, you'll be attracted to Shiva. You have Mercury over there, you'll be attracted to the Vaishnava Patha. This he has said, and whether it's a male god or a female goddess, and then the nature of the Rashi is going to determine that. But he's also said, you see, the fundamental of Jyotisha is that the Lagna is supported by the fifth and the ninth. The Lagna Trikona, they are supporting the grahas over there, support the Lagna. So it's not only the grahas in the fifth, but grahas in the ninth. And you just learned grahas in the ninth are also related to our karma, past life karma, and all this. So grahas in, for example, if you have Venus and Moon in fifth and ninth from your from the Rashi Lagna, you can become a very big Durga worshipper. So, like this, there are many factors over there. So you have to see planets and trines. Then you do have to see the role of Surya gives spiritual knowledge, and Moon also gives a lot of knowledge, and Moon also gives bhakti, not just Shukra. So Surya and Chandra become very important planets. Then the general Karaka, bhakti. Shukra is the Karaka for bhakti, Jupiter is the Karaka for japa, and Ketu is the Karaka for Dhyana. So this needs to be seen. And the Karakas for ninth house are Sun and Jupiter. So we are examining, for example, Jupiter in multiple ways. Jupiter as the Karaka for the ninth house, Jupiter as the Karaka for the Japa, Jupiter as the Naisargika Karaka for Dharma and the Guru, Shukra for Bhakti, and Ketu for Dhyana. Surya also has a Karak of the ninth house because Surya represents order and religion and your principles, the Naitikata, what they talk about. And at the same time, Surya is very crucial for all spiritual knowledge as well. So we are looking, so all these grahas must be looked at. So timing means that yes, if you have the Dasha Antar Pratyantar of Surya, Chandra, Shukra, Guru, Ketu are important, depending especially how they are placed in the chart. Right, especially if any one of them are associated with the ninth house, ninth lord, 12th from Karakamsha, they really become actually more and more important. Not otherwise, but if such a placement is there, I don't have the association of Surya at all with ninth house or ninth lord or anything, and I don't think my Surya is giving me anything much. My Surya is a bit negative, so it's not really giving me much in terms of spiritual knowledge. But I do have a Chandra in 12th from my Karakamsha and a Ketu. And I do have Jupiter in trines to Lagna in Navamsha, which means that Jupiter and Jupiter Dasha and that will be important for me where my spiritual life is concerned. I can get Diksha at that time. I did get Diksha at that time. I did have my spiritual Diksha in my Jupiter Mahadasha. There was no doubt about it. All right. We also need to look at a very special Varga called Vimshamsa. We also call it the Upasanamsha. Here we learned that the fifth house of the Upasanamsha talks about bhakti. Fifth house is the bhakti because even in Rashi chart, we say planets in fifth house, we have Venus over there. You can have bhakti. Now, that bhakti can start at a very low level, meaning you can have a lot of love affairs. But if you are able to elevate that Shukra to a very high level, then it can get translated into divine love or bhakti. But if I want to be ensured that whether it gives me the divine love or bhakti or not, the fifth house of Upasana, I'm sure the D20 chart becomes very important. Because that's where only where we are looking at divine love and bhakti. We are not looking at individual life, love out there. Whereas in the Rashi chart, we are looking at everything. Okay, so mantra and bhakti from fifth house, japa and temples. There's a religious institution from the ninth house. Dhyana from the 12th. Ketu also dhyana, okay? Dhyana is 12,000 Ketu. Your Kula Devata, family god, seen from the second house, and the Sthana Devata, the Devata of the place where you're staying, that's Sthana Devata from the fourth house. Because Sthana Devata also has a lot of important role to play. So grahas over here in the Upasana, I'm sure the D20 chart can give me a short understanding. If I have a Shukra out here in the fifth house, then definitely Bhakti Marga is very, very important for me. And that Venus is going to give me a lot. So probably in Venus, Dashantar, Pratyantar, I may receive a mantra, right? That, especially if that graha, see, I gave you these grahas are important. I said that to you. But now see where these grahas are. Are they placed in any of these important places? So you have the placement from Upasanamsha. You've learnt about certain placements in Navamsha, like 12th house from Karakamsha, or 4th house from Karakamsha can also give Moksha Gati. You've seen this placement. In the Rashi chart, you learned about association with 9th house. Now, if you have these majorly planets associated over there and you get Diksha in that Dashanta Pratyanta, then you know that you're on the right path. Yes. Or, as I say repeatedly, if you're wanting a Diksha and or you think you're going for a Diksha and you're unsure if the timing is right, look up these factors. Okay. Now, to go actually into the next segment, that if I do 20 charts, applying all this, that's going to take another 2 hours. So here I'm just actually positing the theory part to you so that you understand. Now, we can also do, so this is what I meant. If I showed these last two slides to you right in the beginning, and then your question would be why? The question is why. I think that's what I spent 2 hours explaining to you. So if we are taking Gochara or transit, then the transit of Jupiter becomes very important with respect to what? With respect to Mantrapada. Mantrapada is the Arudha Pada of the fifth house in my Rashi chart, right? That's the Bhavapada. So the real manifestation comes from these Bhavapadas. So the Bhavapada of the fifth house, that is, we call it Mantrapada. So where is Jupiter transiting vis-a-vis Mantrapada? Is it transiting over it? When Jupiter transits over Mantrapada, it is a very good time to take Diksha. Also, many of you sometimes take just Mantra Diksha. Okay, you want to take a Panchakshari Diksha. So you just, you went to a Shiva temple and you took a proper initiation from a priest. That's a Mantra Diksha, not like a spiritual Diksha Guru, but a Mantra Diksha. You can take a Gayatri mantras also like a Mantra Diksha. Also, many people take Krishna Mantra Dikshas, but like if you get initiated into a Vaishnava Parampara, you're part of any of the Gauriya Vaishnava Mathas or ISKCON, then you are actually, you've taken spiritual Diksha, you're part of that tradition. But a lot of people in India take Shiva Mantra Diksha or Krishna Mantra Dikshas from anywhere. Sometimes just priests of certain temples give it to them. These are all mantra diksha. So when Jupiter trines over mantra pada or is aspecting mantra pada in Gochara or is in trines to it, at that time you can get either mantra diksha or definitely spiritual diksha also. That means you're going to receive a very good mantra even from your spiritual guru. So that's no that one thing done. Now and you know why we said Jupiter is very important is the karaka of the ninth house. Jupiter is the Naisargika Guru is the Naisargika ninth lord, right? And it represents divinity in the chart. Therefore, Jupiter's association with this is very important. So in Prashna Marga, Harihara tells us that wherever Jupiter is placed in the horoscope, that is basically divine, it represents divinity in the Jataka. Ketu, we have explained to you why it is so important where your spiritual life and moksha gati is concerned. So, if Ketu in Gochara is in trines to your Arura Lagna, that means Ketu has the power to damage the Arura Lagna. Ketu is a big damager. He can damage your Arura Lagna. Dharak, your house is gone. Dharak, your job is affected. Your problems at workplace. Ketu is transiting trines to where Ketu is very happy. That means you can even get a sannyasa diksha because it means Ketu wants to take you towards moksha. So he's going to cut off all these attachments and links. Ketu doesn't want you to get married, doesn't want you to have a nice house and settle down in domesticity, doesn't like you to have a comfortable job. Okay, so that's the reason why, because he's moksha karaka. Now, if you want to see the death of your guru, death of a guru is seen when Shani transits trines to your Bhagyapada. All right. Bhagyapada means that's the Bhavapada of the ninth house. So over there, of course, death of father can also show, but definitely Saturn's transit and trines to Bhagyapada can show the death of a guru or a father. Now, we have learned from the rishis, and here especially Jaimini has taught something called a Drigdasha. And they say you have to follow Drigdasha because Drig means to see and it will give you the gati. So you should see Drigdasha of Arura Lagna. Now, if you are very sure of your Drigdasha calculations, and if you know, or you can just calculate it by your hand, if you're not sure of which software is going to show it correctly, you can use this dasha. Basically, what this dasha does, it shows us where Vishnu is sitting. Now, there is a difference between Narayana and Vishnu. Narayana sits in our Hridaya Chakra, in our heart lotus. He's representing Ishta. Whereas Vishnu is sitting in the ninth house and not over there. And Vishnu is with the world. Sarva Vyapakeshwara Vishnu. He is with the world. So if you have, say, the Dasha of the Arura Lagna, that means Vishnu has come to sit in the Arura Lagna, and this will destroy the Arura as Satya and Asatya cannot sit together because Narayana is Satya. Arura is Asatya. This world we live in is Asatya. Everything around in this world is Asatya. Vishnu and this Asatya cannot live together. So if the Drigdasha has come onto the Arura Lagna, then that Arura Lagna is going to get destroyed. And destruction of asatya is a symbolic awakening from that slumber that we talked about, which happens with the initiation of mantra from a guru. So when it happens, you realize the need for initiation. Suppose you are awakened, you are said, "Oh my God, what have I been doing? I think I require a diksha. I think I require a guru." Till then, you would not have heard about this. And, and then you suddenly want to do tapasya. The notion of the concept of Vishnu Gayatri, tad Vishnu Paramam Padam, Sada Pashyanti Surayah Diviva Chakshuratatam, it comes from the concept of Drigdasha. Tad Vishnu Paramam Mata means the ultimate, the Paramam Padam, the feet, because they say the entire moksha of everything is at the feet of Vishnu, because that's the 12th house of the zodiac. Sada Pashyanti Surayah, the Suras, the Devatas, all they are doing eternally. Their eyes are fixed on the feet of Vishnu because the Devatas know that is the only way you can get a mukti. Divi Vachakshuratatam, say, may he appear before our eyes. So the Rashi Dasha, Dasha is a Rashi Dasha. It is nothing but the movement of these Gayatris. So if you, whichever parampara of Jyotish you belong to, and if you're very sure about the calculation of your Dasha, you can try it. And if you're really into, I mean, this should be tried in the parts of those charts, like of saints and those who are in Mokshakati, or if you yourself is heading towards that, then only try it. The Drik Dasha of the Lagna or the Dasha of those signs which are aspecting the Lagna can show the dawn of knowledge, can show that Timirandhasya, the Andhakara or the darkness, that darkness can be removing and the dawn may appear. The dawn has to appear before all the rest will happen, right? The first thing is something has to pierce that darkness. The higher knowledge of the ninth house, at a very basic level, we say higher knowledge of ninth house is going for a bachelor studies. But the real higher knowledge of the ninth house is awakening our intelligence, is awakening. So by doing a graduation degree, when you go to college, you are awakening your intelligence, you're awakening the lagna. But the true awakening will be awakening the soul, right? You have to awaken it to realize something else is around. And we started today's discussion with that. Then you have to see the dashas of all natural benefits who are associated in ninth from the Arura Lagna. Natural benefits associated with the ninth from Arura Lagna. Dashas of natural benefits if they are placed in third and sixth from Arura Lagna, as well as the Vimshottari Dasha of planets influencing the fifth house and ninth house. So now you understand why. Now I can read out this checklist to you. So, as I said, planets influencing the ninth house, the ninth lord, the planets with the ninth lord, the dashas of those planets, especially the benefic. Malefics will give, but malefics will really make you suffer and then give it. But especially benefic planets will ensure a very smooth diksha. Benefics mean that that process is smooth. Malefics mean that they're going to, slap you left, right, and center and like, like take your shirt off and like ram you down a canal and beat you up and then you'll get what you want. Whereas benefic means it's all smooth and easy. So natural benefics, 9 from AL, and then planets influencing the ninth from Lagna as well as the fifth house, associated with third and sixth house. Drik Dasha Varul Lagna Lagna. And transit of Guru and Ketu I've already. So there are many, many points, as you can see. And I'm not saying that all these points are going to happen all together. You've understood that these grahas are important. And if the dasha or the transit or something, and dasha takes a predominance over over actually transits. When this happens, then definitely the time for Diksha is actually ripe. Okay, so we will end with looking at the charts of Vivekananda and Srila Prabhupada very briefly. But before that, I just wanted to talk to you about Sannyasa Diksha. So the ultimate aim of Diksha actually, if we start again, go back to our definition, that for enlightenment and for destruction of past life karmas, then your ultimate aim should be Sannyasa Diksha. If the goal is the Ishtadeva, the goal is to get moksha, goal is to escape this path of birth and death, the cycle of birth and death, then sannyasa diksha, as we should be, or be the ultimate diksha, isn't it? And sannyasa diksha, as we said, is because then you are trying to really straight away work on the koshas around you. You want to burn those koshas. You want to cut out all attachments associated with the panchendriyas, actually, with all the 10 indriyas. You want to cut out all those indriya sambhogas, the control of the indriyas. You want to cut all of that off. Now, brahmacharya is a definite part of it because brahmacharya means vows, somebody who's taken vows of celibacy. He's an acharya of Brahma, and because Brahma was a celibate, therefore, the person who's a brahmacharya makes the vow of celibacy. There should not even be a thought of sex. It's not whether you are doing the act or not, but even the thought of sex, the desire for sex should not be there. For this, we only need to check Venus. So if Venus is in a tapasvi yoga, then that is absolutely fantastic. Um, basically, Saturn's aspect and association with Venus will destroy the sexual life. Okay? Saturn's aspect and association with Shukra can destroy the sexual life, and Saturn's aspect and association with Mercury will destroy our professional life or the world of karma. And without these two destructions, sannyasa is really not possible. Now, there are traditions which give sannyasa in many different ages. Some get it when they are 50, some later because 50 is sun's natural year, some in Shani's natural year with 70, but really not sannyasa. People who are in that path take sannyasa at a very young age. But for the complete destruction of our Arura and complete destruction of Venus and Mercury in our lives, Shani is very important. Without Shani, we cannot do it because Shani is like Brahma in our chart. Therefore, Shani's drishti on Lagna, number one, on Lagnesh, number two, on Shubhapati. Shubhapati is the dispositor of Chandra, number three, is very, very important. Then all planets aspecting the Shubhapati. Why is Chandra and the dispositor of Chandra important? Because Chandra really connects us to the samsara. That's why people who have bad moons, they really have a bad life because the connection with society is gone. Without a relatively good Chandra, we cannot have any connection with society, nor can we enjoy any bhoga or any phala from this society. But the moment Shani is aspecting, there comes a cut. So Shani is drishti on Lagna, Lagnesh, as well as Shubhapati to have that happen. Then we also have something called a Pravrajya Yoga. Jyotishis are very well of it. You have four or more planets in a kendra. Now, when we have four or more planets in a single house in a kendra, it strengthens the Satyapita. And especially if they are exalted, even if they are malefics and they're exalted, they will strengthen the Satyapita. Weak planets will take you away from Satya. Even weak malefics are the worst because they will destroy the sattva and give you Raja Yoga. So weak malefics in the Kendra have the capability or capacity to give you Raja Yoga because they will destroy the sattva. Whereas an Ucha malefic will not give you the Raja Yoga but will put you more towards the part of Satya. Okay, a weak benefic will not destroy the sattva guna. That is typical of the weak malefic. Now, association of Shani Chandra Ketu, we have already discussed tapasvi yoga. That is very important in sannyasa diksha. And Shani's association with Jupiter, Moon, and the Lagna. Lagna, I told you, because that's your intelligence, and Moon, your mind. So both the intelligence and the mind has to be totally detached, completely detached, and the connection with society destroyed. Now, there is a very interesting point here related to our Upapada. Now, the Upapada is the Bhavapada of the 12th house. Now, that is the 12th house of the Rashi chart is also a place where we actually pay to others. That is our house of expenses or Vyaya. It is also called Vyaya Pada. So, that means that the 12th house wants to take something from you. Is there someone who's there to take it from you or share with you? So, Upapada, we also see spouse, so which means my husband or wife. If the person is there, then that person is there to take from you. You see, if you say you have a very demanding husband or wife, but it's very good, he is taking from you, so you have to do vyayana You have to give. The 12th house is demanding vyaya or giving from you. So the very act of that you give, in the best of marriages, everybody has to give. So the more you're giving, the more it is good that you're giving. But who is taking it? Is it a spouse taking it, or is it Vishnu who's taking it? Understand this question very well. If Vishnu is there in the 12th house as the because the 12th, it is his feet over there. If Vishnu is taking it, we are going towards the sannyasa marga. So the question is that if you feel that you have Vishnu over there who's taking it, and there is a strong sannyasa yoga involving the 12th house, but at the same time you're trying to get married, and that is not really happening. So I want to strengthen the 12th house and 12th lord in order to strengthen it as a upapada. I don't want to take sannyasa, I want to get married. So what you do over here, now, if Ketu is involved, because Ketu is the Naisargika lord of the 12th house, Ketu will try to take you towards Moksha Marga. Why? We have seen how Parashara and Jaimini have both said that. Now, ninth house from the Upapada Lagna shows us if children are promised to us. Now I see that, okay, then I should get married and have a kid. If I have a kid, then then my Upapada is going to be activated and my marriage will be secure. Now I said, oh my God, somebody's come to you. I cannot have children. If I can't have children, Ketu's involved with my Upapada, so will my Upapada break? No, what you should do, then you should adopt children. Then if you adopt children, your Upapada will be activated. And if the ninth house from Upapada is activated, the UL is going to be activated. So if the UL is activated and you're married, you are not going to go towards sannyasa marga. You will remain as a householder and do it. So a lot of propitiation of the ninth house from Upapada is advised if you want to get married and if you want to protect the Upapada. But on the other hand, if you are going to take the sannyasa marga and Ketu is heavily involved, then all the merrier because you don't want the Upapada to be activated. Okay, so that is what it's meant by is Vishnu taking your sacrifices, your givings, if you're giving all the time, or is your spouse taking? So if Upapada is activated, spouse will take. Upapada is not activated, then Vishnu will take. And whatever Vishnu is taking in the 12th house is going to his feet, which means it is for the Paramam Padam, the ultimate moksha. All right, the moksha gati. So Shani is very important because Shani will give you vairagya. If it is aspecting Chandra or the dispositor of the moon or the Lagna or the Lord of the Lagna, in all these cases, Shani can bring detachment, and you need detachment. Without Vairagya, you can't really go in the Sannyasa Marga. You will need to destroy your Arura, you will need to destroy Mercury and destroy Venus. For that, also, you need Saturn. All right, it's very good to have a tapasvi yoga somewhere because a tapasvi yoga will give you the ability to perform hard penance and to do sadhana. Okay, so all these things are very, very important for you. Now, just to kind of quickly end with the charts of two saints for the simple reason, so we leave with a good feeling. So this is Swami Vivekananda's chart. You can see it is Dhanu Lagna. The ninth lord is Surya and he's placed in Lagna as the Karaka of Lagna. And do you know his ninth lord, Surya, is also the Atma Karaka itself. So you have ninth lord as Atma Karaka placed in Surya. So that's giving you an idea. Okay. Now you can see in Navamsha also that Surya is in Dhanu, so that Atmakaraka is Vargottama. Okay, it is a Vargottama Atmakaraka. Now you can see, if you want to see the Karakamsha, you can see the 12th house from the, this is the Karakamsha where Atmakaraka is placed. The 12th house therefrom is Vrishchik Rashi, Jupiter is placed over there. Jupiter means that maybe he should worship Samba Shiva. What does Samba Shiva means? Shiva with Sa Amba, meaning Shiva and Shakti, which he did. He worshipped the Divine Mother as well as Shiva. It has the Rashi Drishti of Ketu. All right. Ketu is also the 12th lord from Karakamsha, having Rashi Drishti on its own sign. Okay. So that means definitely the Moksha Marga is very, very strong out here. Okay. There are other ways to see the Moksha Marga, but I didn't go into the nitty gritty. I gave you a little broad outline of what are the things you need to watch out for, but Shukra is also the 12th of the Navamsha Lagna. Here you can see that his Saturn is aspecting the Lagna. His Saturn is sitting with the moon. So the Saturn is sitting with the moon and having aspecting the Lagna. There is total Vairagya Yoga over there. His Arura Lagna is over here in Simha, right? And Swami Vivekananda's Sannyasa Dikshas, actually, he had many Sparsha Dikshas and Vedamai Dikshas from his Guru Sri Ramakrishna. But ultimately, just before the Guru passed away, Sri Ramakrishna left his body. He gave the Geruas, the Gerua robes to the 12, I think, disciples and said that I think you people should now perform the Shraddhas and you people should become monk. And he gave them names and gave them the Gerua robes. Soon after, Sri Ramakrishna left his earthly body in 1886. Right after that, in 1887, on Christmas Eve, actually on 1886 Christmas Eve, after the demise of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, as well as 12 of them altogether, 12 direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, decided that yes, our master has given us the Gerua robe. We should all take the sannyasa and we should dedicate our life from the country. So they took a vow on Christmas Eve, and then after a few months in March 1887, not in March 1887, sorry, uh, sometime I think in 1887 they actually, I think probably in November, because there is no dates. That's the reason why we couldn't do the charts. In 1887, November, if I'm not mistaken, they actually did performed the whole rituals for Sannyasa Diksha. The main performance for a Sannyasa Diksha is called a Viraja Homa. In the Viraja Homa, you must perform your own Shraddha, your own last rites. So you say, me as so and so does not exist anymore. I'm performing my last rites. So I give up everything, my attachment to my family, my gotra, my name. That's when they take a new name. They all took the new name, Swami so and so. All of them took the new names and they took the Gerua garb. And so that happens. And that actually tried multiple versions of Vimshottari Dasha in his chart. I tried the dashas, and it all happens in kind of a Ketu dasha. And this because fortunately it was all a Ketu Venus dasha. So Ketu, you can know, is having Drishti on 12th from Karakamsha, Moksha Gati. And you can see that the 12th Lord of Navamsha, the 12th house of the 12th Lord from the Navamsha chart is one who actually causes the physical escape of the body. And this 12th Lord is Shukra. And this 12th Lord Shukra becomes a very important planet because this Shukra is actually going to give him Moksha Gati. You can see this Shukra is placed fourth from his Karakamsha, right? This Shukra, which is 12th from his Navamsha Lagna, is placed fourth from his Karakamsha and it is Ucha. That means that his Goti for Moksha Marga was a Shaktapat. By worshipping the Divine Mother, he would eventually get his Moksha Gati. And we are assured about that because there is this, how shall I say, Ketu's Drishti over here. You can see that he has a Tapasvi Yoga in the Rashi chart, Shani over here, Mercury, Venus over here in Makara, and Ketu in the sixth house. It's a perfect Tapasvi Yoga. And his Bhratrikaraka planet, if I'm not mistaken, his Bhratrikaraka planet is Shani. And you can see that Shani, yeah, Shani is with the moon, which is the eighth lord of renunciation, and is sitting over here. Upapada is over there. Upapada has royally got smashed. And you can also see that there is a parivartana between Shani and Mercury out here. And Venus is sitting here with Mercury. Now, this Venus and Mercury is six from the Arura Lagna. So, when I saw the Vimshottari Dasha is Ketu Venus, because the broad couldn't take the Pratyantar because I don't know the dates, etc. But it was in Ketu Venus. So, it's very, very understandable. This Venus, which is giving him all this Moksha Marga, this Moksha Gati, that Venus, along with Mercury, is in sixth house from Arura Lagna. and the close association forming a tapasvi yoga closely associated with Saturn, who's also the Bhratrikaraka. All right. So, because I'm going a little bit fast, but just to tell you how it is very easy to understand. So, I don't even need that. Now, here we will end with the chart of Srila Prabhupada so you can get, little 5 minutes of questioning. Srila Prabhupada's chart is very interesting because he got Diksha at a very, very late age in his life, almost in 70. He was a householder looking after his father's business of, I think, a chemical factory, etc. But during the course of his life, he happens to get initiated in Gaudiya Vaishnava. And his guru was very interested that Srila Prabhupada gives up his life and takes sannyasa and really prods him and prods him. And then he gets a dream about his guru. His guru's dream was, the guru dreamt and told him that I think that you have to go abroad and you have to set up all the temples, which, as all of you know, that Srila Prabhupada did. So you have to set up that many temples. That's your path, and spread the name of Hari, Krishna's name. You have to spread. So etc. Now, if you see his Arura Lagna is here in Mesha, and he too has Mercury and Venus in 6 from Arura Lagna. Did you see the very interesting part? His thing also has Mercury and Venus, 6 from it. So when they both, they were perfect sadhus. Both Vivekananda and Srila Prabhupada were perfect sadhus because they had Mercury and Venus in 6 from Arura Lagna. He actually gave up his entire business. His path also, as you can see over here, this is kind of a Radha Krishna Marga, the Mercury really being exalted, showing a very powerful Vaishnava path out here. Rahu is his Atmakaraka, that's his Karakamsha. All right, and you can see Sun and Moon over here in the 12th from Karakamsha. All right. And in his case, you can see that the 4th from Karakamsha is Saturn, and the 12th lord from Navamsha Lagna Ketu. That Saturn and Ketu is Yuti in Mesha in the 5th house from Lagna with Mercury and Jupiter. So again, that Mercury is showing part, just the way Shukra showed the Moksha Gati. So I'm hurrying this up a little bit, but you can listen to the recording. So I'm seeing the Navamsha planets there, or the Navamsha 12th lord or planets there. And I'm also seeing the 12th lord from Karakamsha to see actually the gati or the kind of worship they did. Because they were such realized souls, that's why I'm seeing that for them. I'm so sure that they have attained moksha gati. So you can see for Srila Prabhupada, 12th Lord is Ketu. All right. Then 4th Lord from Atmakaraka is Saturn. 4th Lord from Lagna is Jupiter and Ketu. And all those planets, and 12th Lord from Karakamsha is Mercury. And all those planets are together here in Aries. So definitely the very, very strong Moksha Marga. So it is a kind of a Radha Krishna Marga, but Krishna plays a dominance. And as I told you, that Ucha Buddha out here, and the Shukra and Buddha also sits from his Arura Lagna. You can see this very, very well. So again, Venus in a sign of Capricorn, aspected by Saturn, it destroyed his marital life completely. So eventually, this becomes a very important factor. Uh, okay, so what I'm going to do, it's almost 10:30 now, it's 10:25. So on the auspicious note of Srila Prabhupada's horoscope and Swami Vivekananda's horoscope, where we don't have the dates, we just have the years, but which can give us a broad Antardasha, we are ending. And I've not used the transit of Ketu and Jupiter here because they are such elevated soul, but I use the other parameters which I have discussed in my presentation. So, Om Gurave Namah. Hari Om Tat Sat. Over to you, Ksanati.
Sarbani, thank you for an incredible presentation. So many different indicators and signification for Diksha, which you elaborated on. I'm just going to field some question and answer from the community for you. Some are comments, some are
Right.
questions.
Hmm.
Isabel says, thank you in advance for sharing your insights, Sarbani. She has enjoyed your lectures on Nakshatra Gandanta. Vikram mentioned, Upanayam a kind of Diksha? This is given by the father to the son by whispering the mantra in the
Upanayana.
right.
Yeah. You want me to answer that now?
Please.
Upanayanam is the Gayatri ceremony that which the Brahmin families traditionally observe, and traditionally in some parts of India, I mean Orissa and many parts, other parts also in the south, they would have this what I told you, Diksha, spanning across 7 days, 5 days. That is done for the Upanayan ceremony because the Gayatri initiation is considered so high. Pandit Sanjay Rath himself talks about he had a 5 day ceremony along with his eldest brother. And even now in Orissa, people still do, we get invitations for 3 day ceremony. That doesn't take place in the neighboring state of Bengal, but in Orissa, it is still maintained. And I think maybe in the south also, it is maintained. So it is more important than the marriage ceremony to get the Gayatri Diksha. Now, the father gives it, or an uncle gives it, if the elder father's elder brother's there, or a grandfather may give it. So they are not really like a Diksha Guru, like having your Guru in your life, but they are definitely like a Guru. Mani, they are your Gayatri Diksha Guru because it's part of the tradition. It has to come for the lineage. So they are your Gayatri Diksha Gurus, and they are giving the Gayatri mantra, which is supposed to be a main mantra for Brahmins. So Brahmins can obviously, they also take other spiritual Diksha, like they go to a regular spiritual guru and take Diksha. But this Gayatri mantra Diksha is very, very important for them. So that ceremony is called Upanayan. But yes, that Gayatri mantra itself can lead you to a lot. But then the father, the uncle, or the grandfather is not really becoming a guru like the way we discussed it. In some cases, they might. Maybe he is a very elevated soul, and the son and the father, the son and the uncle have that kind of relationship. For Pandit Sanjay Rath, he got his Gayatri Diksha from his father's eldest brother, that is his uncle, who was also his Jyotish guru. Okay, and he has Surya as Bhratri Karaka in his fifth house, and his Diksha Guru was Mesha Lagna with a very strong Surya. So he acted like more than Diksha Guru for him. He was also his Jyotish Guru. So he was the one who really, really trained him. So, but if a person is also very much into the spiritual path as well, can turn out to be a guru. I mean, it can happen. You can't rule out that possibility. Yes.
Thank
Next
you,
question.
Sarvani. What if there is a Parvatna yoga between the Ishta Devata and another Graha in the Navamsha? Does the Ishta Devata change as a result? And when does this change occur?
So, Parivartana Yoga. Is it Parivartana Yoga or Prabhraja Yoga?
Yes,
What is it?
Parvatna.
Parivartana, the exchange. No, no. This is an old question. Your Ishta Devata can never get changed. Ishta Devata is only one. You can have additional people, but Ishta is really one. And it is difficult to find out who is your true Ishta. Very difficult because you can be attracted to multiple main deities. If you're sadhaka, you get attracted. But Ishta is the one who's your savior, your protector, your shelter, who's going to guide you. That is one. And it's difficult to know. That Ishta never changes, and your Atmakaraka never changes. Those things are eternal, they do not change.
Perfect. Does Svamsha refer to the natal D1 chart?
Vimshamsha? No. Is that
It just
Vimshamsha?
says Svamsha.
What is Vamsha? Bhamsha. Oh, what is the spelling?
Svamsa.
Oh, Swamsha, Swamsha. No, no, no. Swamsha is a very deep concept. I'm not going to go into that. It's not to do as such with your Rashi chart. Um, Swamsha is really explained in depth by Gemini, where he talks about several points from where you can examine yourself. All right. And one of the most important points, important self point, is the Karakamsha, which we talked about.
Perfect. How do you decide which planet is connected to Ishta Devata if you have two planets in 12 from the Atmakarika in Navamsha?
Oh,
Does
yeah,
it,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You can have two planets. I have three planets. You can have even more than that. So you have to make an analysis, like any other chart analysis. Which planet has the strongest say? Which planet is the strongest? You see the dignity, you see the Rashi, you see aspects of other planets, and by this you determine. Just use your basic, you have to use your basic Jyotish analysis and determine which is the strongest influence. These are not easy because many people ask this question and they want rules, they want formulas, they want tabulations, and that's not happening out there. It's not easy. I still to date, like if I just want to do the Jyotish analysis part, I uh, I have Saturn Ketu Moon in Mithun Rashi, right? 12. Now I can say, oh, Ketu is debilitated. Oh, if I take Moon with Ketu, then it is an eclipse. If it's Saturn with Ketu, that's bad. If Saturn is with Moon, then I take this. I've gone through many analyses and I still go through the analysis. And you must also take in aspects, Rashi Drishtis, on the 12th house. That will help you determine. You have to do the exercise. You will have doubts. You have to redo the exercise. It's not a quick answer. I'm sorry. Anything to do with the Ishta is not easy and it's not quick.
Not everyone follows the Vedic tradition. So can non-followers attain moksha without these Diksha mantras? For example,
Yeah, of course.
meditation.
Yeah, meditation is a Vedic method. Who said meditation wasn't a Vedic method? That's so wrong. In the Vimshamsha itself, I showed you the 12th house is to do with dhyana. Dhyana means meditation. Patanjali Sutras, all right? Patanjali Sutra has taught about this meditation, about dhyana means meditation, has taught this. And he's written it very clearly if you read the Patanjali Sutra that the single most aim of dhyana is actually to be on the moksha gati and to get moksha. That is the reason why you are doing dhyana, you're meditating. Ideally, who are you meditating upon? If you need to meditate upon somebody, it's your Ishta Devata. That is whom you are supposed to meditate upon, or your Ishta mantra. So remember when I said that when you leave the body, the mind should only be on the Ishta mantras given to you in your Diksha by your Guru. That is a dhyana. Swami Vivekananda only prescribed dhyanas all the time. Dhyana, dhyana, dhyana. Japavat dhyana, very important. Sri Ramakrishna dhyana. Because, and when he went to the US, he traveled a lot in the US, he told the American ladies who really gave him a lot of donations and funds and all that, he told them at that time in the West, like Omkar Dhyan, Om Dhyan is so important. So he didn't go into telling them how to do meditation on big mantras or didn't talk about devatas. He just told them Om. But uh, anybody following any other tradition, of course, you can apply all these techniques that I discussed about the ninth lord, ninth house, Ketu. You need not identify like Surya being Shiva. He can identify a male deity of any kind to you for whichever religion you belong to. But all other parameters will apply to you.
Lovely. Again, for everyone who asked questions, we're not going to have time to get to all of them today, so I apologize. But Sarbani, lots of compliments here. So, what if there are no grahas in the 12th from Karakamsha?
Yeah. Rashi Drishti.
Yeah.
Rashi Drishti on the 12th. And for example, in his chart, oh no, he has two planets. So you definitely see the Rashi itself. What is the Rashi? It's a Kanya or Vrishtika or whatever. And what are the Rashi Drishtis on it? So the Rashi Drishtis will give you an indicator that will color the sign and will tell you if you're trying to determine. Basically, the thumb rule is Venus and Moon indicate female deities. All right, doesn't matter which religion you belong to. And definitely Surya, Jupiter indicate male deities. All right. And also the sign you're in, what kind of a sign, male sign, female sign. So a Venus in a Saturnine sign can be, or a Martian sign. This has been given by Prashna Marga again. You can have more Ugra Devatas or darker form. Doesn't mean very Ugra, can be a more fiery kind of a god or goddess. The Black Madonna can be Venus in Capricorn. So if you are a worshipper of the Black Madonna, it can be that. Just an example.
Thank you, Sarbani. Some questions on Mula. When you say remedies for the atonement of past life karma are rooted through Mula, can you go
Hmm.
elaborate on this a little?
Yeah, Mula. Basically, the word Mula means root, right? And we have three major nakshatra gandhantas in our horoscope, and the most severe of these gandhantas is in the Mula Jyeshtha one. Mula nakshatra. That's why Parashara has identified this as a particular janma dosha. If you see in Brihat Parashara, there are separate chapters there that if you are born in Mula, especially in the first pada, which is an abhukta Mula, then the Gandhanta is very severe. Okay, your suffering will be very severe. We understand that. But what does it really mean? That means it's really rooted to your past life karma. All Gandhantas are, but this one is rooted deep into your prarabdha. So doing a remedy for that is very, very crucial. Any remedies you do over there for that remedy is going to really I was going to say cure you from the root, but actually heal you from the root. Remove karmas which are really deep rooted. Like doing a root canal, it's just remove the roots altogether.
Beautiful. Would you say if the native has grahas in Mula and a transit of
Oh, yes.
Shani is
Absolutely, absolutely. It's not just Chandra. Any graha in Mula, that is called a nakshatra sandhi. Nakshatra Gandhanta. I mean, we won't use the word Gandhanta there. Because Gandhanta is referred to for Chandra because moon rules our life and longevity and it can be a threat to a longevity. But any other graha over there, that nakshatra sandhi, Mula sandhi, is going to create havoc. It may not take your life, but it can create a lot of suffering. Of course, huge amount of suffering. I have already spoken on this actually at the Leeds conference. I've spoken on Nakshatra Sandhi a couple of years ago.
I think that's good. I think that's good for now. Thank you, Sarbani,
Okay,
for a beautiful elaboration today and for taking the time to present your timing of Diksha lecture at this year's Parashara conference. I'm so honored, and it was such a great pleasure to enjoy you today. So thank you, Sarbani.
you're welcome. Thank you very much, Ksanati, and it's a pleasure to be part of this Maharishi Parashara conference. And I wish you great success for the rest of the conference. And thank you to all participants for attending.
Lovely. So for those of you who might not know, Ronnie Dreyer is doing a lecture in 20 minutes on women's astrology, classical women's astrology versus a more progressive or modern approach. So you can tune into that in 20 minutes. And I'm just going to close out with a quick mantra. Oh. त्वमेव मथ च पिता त्वमेव बन्धु च सख त्वमेव वेज द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वम् अमृतेश्वरी नमः त्वमेव सर्वम् अमृतेश्वरी नमः त्वमेव सर्वं माता अमृतानंदमयीमा Maharani ki jai. Hari Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you,
Om
everybody.
Namah
Thank you,
Shivaya.
Sarvani.
Thank you. Namaste. Bye bye. Have I stopped sharing, right?
Yes, we're good.